It's Donna here from Donna is Playing Paper and DonnaDoll74 on Instagram, and I have a set of cards for you today that are easy as pie. Recently I had the chance to see this Teddy Celebrates paper pack in person, and as soon as I saw these beautiful sunset scenes, I knew I had to have it and to make a card using these scenes. There are lots of different papers in this pack, but these scenes are what we're going to focus on today. And the first thing we're going to do is grab a rectangle, I use a die, and search out some different card-sized scenes that we can use. I use the rectangle like the viewfinder of my camera, looking at whether I want to have more sky or more water, whether I'd like a slim scene, where the elements would sit. So for example here, even with a smaller rectangle, I can still get in that beautiful star in the sky as well as some buildings. Or I could use a smaller die and have just a tree. The possibilities here are many. For all of these scenes, you could just cut them out and add a sentiment. But for today, I'm going to add just one die to each of my cards to mix it up a little bit, starting with this Card Creator 3 die. I use this die a lot as a way to use up scraps when I'm doing lots of cards. But for today, I've chosen this beautiful brown thick cardstock and I've cut out a window frame. And I'm just working out where to sit that frame so that I'm happy with the design. I really like that star in the top left corner, and so I'm going to place the die quite high. And I like where it sits right here because each of the buildings sits in the gaps. I'm going to mark my position on the paper and then cut just inside those lines so that my white paper is slightly smaller than the window. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit of glue to the back of my window frame and glue my scene panel behind it. I've chosen a sentiment from the Happy Birthday sentiment sheets. This has foiled sentiments in 3 different colours: silver, gold and rose gold. And the rose gold was just a perfect match for this paper. I liked this next idea so much that I made it 2 ways. This next design uses the Polaroid frame die, and it's just the perfect size to frame a 3x3 image. I'm going to cut this from white cardstock for my first design, and then from gold shimmer cardstock. I also used a couple of the ginghams from the pack and cut them with stitched rectangle dies to be my backgrounds. I just ran a little bit of liquid glue around the back of the frame and added my scene panel to that. I just made sure it was cut to very slightly smaller than my Polaroid frame, and you can see that little line around the outside so that we know it won't stick out and be visible from the front. For the white card, I'm going to stamp this Happy Birthday. It's a perfect length for the die, and also I think the font is just a really good match for these images. I'm not going to stamp on the gold card because it is a shimmer cardstock, and without heat embossing, my ink would easily smudge. I've decided to add a sentiment from the Happy Birthday Sentiments pack, the same pack that I used for the first card. Next, we're going to frame a scene. I'm going to use the Lots and Lots of Rectangles dies, although you could use 2 stitched rectangles or 2 regular rectangles taped together to create a frame. I like these ones because of all the fancy designs. This is the simplest design of all, but I thought I'd include it because I've got a nice little trick for lining up a flimsy frame, like the one that I ended up choosing. I've cut my panel to almost the full size of my card base, although the frame is smaller. This frame that I've chosen is quite flimsy, and so in order to stick that nice and straight on the paper, I'm holding the next size up of frame onto the page where I want it to be. Some masking tape would have helped to make this even smoother. Once I have the solid rectangle where I want it, it's simply a matter of slotting that other rectangle into it, and that way it can't head off at the diagonal because it's being held in place. Once again, I've used the same sentiment pack for all of these cards. Finally, we're going to make an eclipse card. Today I'm choosing a nesting arches die, but you can use any type of die, including sentiment dies, for your eclipse. I've chosen the frame that I want, and I've decided that I would like to highlight this one tree here on the left. It's about 1/3 of the way in on the design, and I find that quite pleasing, and it fits nicely into this die. I've taped my whole design and run that through my die cutter all at once. Next, I'm going to use that same arch die and cut out 4 more arches from white cardstock. And I will glue all of those together with my patterned paper on the top. That's what makes it an eclipse card, having one element sitting higher on the card than the rest. Once that's done, it's simply a matter of gluing down my background panel nice and flat to my card base, and then sitting my eclipse element into the gap. If you like, you can use brightly coloured paper behind your element to make it stand out from the side even more. Today I've just gone with white, and you can see the beautiful dimension that you get when you do this. Once again, I've gone with a simple happy birthday sentiment, and my card is done. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back soon with some more cards, so why not like and subscribe if you feel so called, and I will be back soon with another card. Bye for now.